Fox News alert, the president's controversial green czar, Van Jones, has resigned. Caroline Shively live in Washington this morning with the breaking details. Good morning to you, Caroline.
Good morning, Dave. Van Jones resigned in a letter, but it didn't have an apology in it. Here's part of it. Quote, opponents of reform have mounted a vicious smear campaign against me. They're using lies and distortions to distract and divide. I have been inundated with calls from across the political spectrum urging me to stay and fight, but I came here to fight for others, not for myself. Now, Jones calls it a smear campaign, but what his opponents were bringing up included a petition he signed in 2004 asking for an investigation into whether Bush administration officials allowed the 9/11 attacks to go on. He also called Republicans a very crude name at a forum earlier this year and had called himself a Marxist and an anarchist at various points in his career. Now, this wasn't a surprise. Republicans had been calling for his resignation. I think you really knew Jones was in trouble last week when Robert Gibbs was asked if the administration supports him, and his answer was, well, he still works here. And you also knew this was coming because Jones had become such a distraction for the administration. He even acknowledged that in his resignation letter, saying he couldn't in good conscience ask his colleagues to expend precious time and energy defending or explaining my past. Now, that was especially true with health care gearing up as Congress returns this week. Big question, though, will this change the whole vetting process of these czars? It's unclear. Most of Jones' controversial statements could be found with a quick computer search, so we don't know if the White House didn't know about what he'd said before they hired him or if they just ignored it. Back to you guys.
But Caroline, I mean, you make a great point, because one of the things the critics said about him is that because of the way czars are appointed without this Senate confirmation hearing, that these things that he had said in his past would never have made it through any sort of confirmation hearing. But somehow you circumvent it when you choose a czar from the White House. So
you're exactly right, and there are dozens of these czars out there. Will they continue to name czars, or will they push things more towards Congress so they can get a handle on it? I mean, a Google search would have found most of these statements that he'd made.
And Caroline, quickly here, I know it was late when this story broke last night. We just saw this letter of resignation from Van Jones, but has the White House come out with any statement of their own?
The council came out with a very plain statement saying we thank him for his 6 months of service, but the White House has pretty much been on the down low on this one.
Yeah, I would say. All right, Caroline Shively, live for us in Washington. Thanks for that this morning. We appreciate it.